Welcome to an informational overview of two key elements within a crucial conversation. As we get into the topic, we'll define what is a crucial conversation, how to navigate through active listening, and how to deploy some emergency empathy. As I said, today we're doing an overview of these two big elements to get you successfully started. After this presentation, I do encourage you to explore more about active listening and emergency empathy. In part one of our two-part presentation, we first define crucial conversation and then explore active listening. That's skills for both work and home. Now if I could just have you read along as I read. Active listening is an important component of crucial conversations. Crucial conversations are those conversations that we fear may become contentious, awkward, or angry, or conversations in which we are totally wedded to an outcome. So the stakes are high, emotions are strong, and opinions differ. It's not unusual that people avoid such conversations because most of us just don't have the skills to cope with what might manifest. Active listening coupled with emergency empathy are great tools to assist in a successful outcome. So let's explore active listening first. Active listening has several important components. As an active listener, assume positive intent. Give the other party the benefit of the doubt. They may have been doing their very best regardless of words or behaviors. Pay attention to body language. Are they as nervous as you? Set aside judgment, just listen. When emotions are high, being heard is huge. Focus on their message, all of it. There may be pieces to it that you are unaware. Let the other party know you are truly hearing them, not occasionally. Encourage them by saying yes and smile when appropriate. Don't interrupt with a defense, solutions, answers, or questions. Let them talk until they have truly completed their point. And here we have some tips for better listening. Set aside mental inflexibility, such as, I'm right and you're wrong, or only my story is the truth. Assume there is more to learn. Get comfortable. Be physically comfortable. Be attentive. The parties can sit, stand, or walk. You may need to remind yourself during the conversation to listen, or you may need to stop yourself from interrupting. If that happens, just return to listening. Okay, you've listened, and now they're done. Here's a time to respectfully provide some feedback. Give your point of view. Comment on their points. Defend. Suggest solutions. Point to areas of agreement. Answer their questions and ask your questions. You can say, would you be willing to hear my perspective? Before we move on, I need some clarification regarding X. Can you provide an example for me? Would you take a moment to help me understand? Do I understand correctly? What is the data that supports? What is it you would like from me right now? What I need right now is. Part 2 of Crucial Conversations. Here we're going to talk about emergency empathy when stressed. That means empathy for you and empathy for another. Emergency empathy, let's look at what it is and how it helps. Okay, you've gone into your critical conversation with the best intentions. But what if you begin to experience truly difficult emotions and it's become very hard to stay focused? Under those conditions, how does one manage to move forward? Emergency empathy is the method where you check in on your emotions using the process called green light, yellow light, red light. Let's look into this a bit deeper. In a crucial conversation, a green light means it's going well. Both of you might be feeling energized, confident, or aligned. Active listening is going well. Emotions are stable and all parties are remaining rational. The conversation is a go. A yellow light is somewhere in between good and not so good. You're not feeling too stressed, but you're not feeling terrific either. There is still confidence in the room that the conversation is moving ahead positively, if not as smoothly as the parties would like. There are some low bumps in the road, but the conversation continues on a relatively good note. No need to stop. During the conversation, do you begin to feel intellectually or emotionally dismissed? Do you feel judged? Do you feel there has been an attempt to shame you? Are you getting hot under the collar? Do you also feel an immediate strong desire to stop listening and defend yourself or your side of the story? Such turmoil puts you into red light. And red light means there is an emotional need to pause because you're getting tripped up by your limbic system. Here is what is happening. When in a state of emotional turmoil, our primitive survival circuitry, the brain's limbic system, is activated and says, I must defend, protect myself. It also pumps out uncomfortable stress hormones, making you tense. The limbic system does not contain emotional maturity. Its job is to react to stimuli, and it's easily triggered when we feel threatened physically or emotionally. In this triggered state and at this point in the conversation, the questions to ask yourself are, can I still listen to the other party's perspective? Is it possible for me to continue with empathy? Now that's not agreement, but empathy. If the answer is no, then it's time to take an emotional pause, step away from the limbic response, and create some emergency empathy. When in a red light response, you're letting your primitive limbic system make reactive choices, not thought-filled, rational choices. That happens in our prefrontal cortex. The prefrontal cortex is our brain's emotionally mature high road. We want to head to that high road because it's the place where difficult problems and emotions are managed. So how do we get there? Here we look at emergency empathy for yourself. Stop momentarily to calm the reaction and home in on what you are feeling and needing. Because your feelings are real no matter what the situation, start with, I'm feeling because I need. Here are two examples. I'm feeling angry because I need more understanding. I'm feeling that my beliefs are being threatened and I need them to feel secure. Once triggered, the best way out of red light is to interface with those very real feelings. The first step is to acknowledge your anger, your frustration, or your fear. Ask yourself, what do I feel and what do I need? Secondly, and at this point, acknowledge the possibility that the issue may be much more complex than originally assumed. Stay open to the possibility that you don't yet have the whole picture. Stay open to the possibility that your story or your side, coupled with new evidence, their side, doesn't make as neat a picture as originally believed. And that's okay because that's why you're talking. Take a deep breath because now you're actually getting somewhere. In this quieter, accepting state of mind, your decision-making is shifted to the emotionally mature prefrontal cortex, the calmer, creative, rational part of the brain where emotions are re-evaluated. Now we're heading back into yellow light. In this re-evaluated state, we are again open to listening. We become open to receiving new evidence. We become open to hearing about new resources. we become open to the possibility that there may be no certainty regarding our issue's outcome. Things might actually be more ambiguous and more complicated than anticipated. Now let's look at some emergency empathy for others. By affirming that the other side comes from a point of shared humanity, of feelings and needs, we create within ourselves emergency empathy for others. What is it that they may be feeling in the moment? What is it that they may need? By reflecting on these questions, our emotions can be reevaluated. At that point, and if it feels appropriate, you can say something to the effect of, "I sense some frustration, am I correct?" And then resume listening. Getting back to green. We can dig in our heels to defend our position and escalate limbic reactions, or we can pause, take stock of our feelings, consciously empathize, and then continue communicating. We've just covered the fundamentals of active listening and emergency empathy. Let's wrap up our overview. First of all, the foundation of active listening. No judgment, no thinking ahead, no interruptions, no connection with your opinion, no hypothetical conclusions, no questioning their feelings or intentions, just listening, and a healthy mindset. We can find a solution that will more or less fit both of us. And limbic stimuli. We simply have to make ourselves aware of the fact that in this case, we are not in danger. And there is so much to gain by reaching for a calmer state of mind. Well, this is the end of our presentation, and I want to thank you so much for your time, and I really wish you many successful conversations.